Some of the concerns, suggestions by the OPPI and IDMA are not addressed. I know it virtually, actually. Every day they're running around to Bigyan Bhavan. And they're saying it, please do it. They're not doing it. If the government is serious about it, and if you want to clean Ganga, you are doing everything possible there. You want to do it here also. Do it with intention. It will not happen only if you create a separate ministry for it and give a big slogan to it. The real focus to my mind is to work from the grassroots. Make your best. Try to find out what is the problem. This is the real problem. 56% of Indian populations do not have access to basic medicines. And we are talking about eradication of tuberculosis, we are talking about cancer, we are talking about the chronic diseases. How it is going to go? India doesn't live in cities, for God's sake. It lives in the villages, it lives in the tier 4, tier 5 cities. These are the people who earn less than $1 per day. These are the people who don't see the light of the day sometimes when they don't get the foods. How can we claim as a superpower status? Why the pharma companies also not entering into the rural market? Why there is a concern? Dr. Murthy was sharing me a story when the child at the age of 1 to 5, 1 to 10, when there is a big cardiac surgery required for them, it goes unnoticed. Doctors and hospitals don't attend to it unless being paid. Why the government can't come forward and help these people? It is not hospitals who are always responsible. They have to also raise funds. So the government also should come forward and partner with them, tell them that this is what we're going to give. Dr. Murthy cannot sponsor always 3 lakhs rupees for each child to perform a cardiac surgery, which other doctors have neglected and ask him to do it. He does it because he's a good man. But it doesn't happen with all the hospitals. Am I correct, Dr. Murthy, if I'm saying? So these are the things which is happening in India actually now. We have to change the mindset. We have to change the thinking level. We have to change these ministers' perception that they are not the ministers. They're actually our servants. They'll have to listen to us. Remember the famous dialogue of Narendra Modi, what he spoke. He told, 60 years you've given this Swaraj, you've given this Sasak to these people, Congress. Make me as a servant. He is a servant. Why doesn't he tell the Anand Kumar? Why he doesn't tell Nirmala Sitharaman? Why he doesn't tell Dr. Singh? Why he doesn't tell Love Burma? Why he doesn't take all the people to bring everyone together and address their queries? I know what is happening with NPP. I know what is happening with the Drug Control Administration. I know what is happening with Ministry of Commerce and Industries. Now the healthcare insurance it has increased and they have done it now and it's going to be passed in the parliament as well. But certain critical issues, the pharma companies are scared. To be very frank, if you tell me, I have visited Wokhad plant in Aurangabad, I have visited Sun Pharma plant, I have visited n number of plants, I can tell you with a full sense of responsibility. And even I visited Mr. Ajit Singh's plants, capsules group, as well as in Nagpur and Pune also. I can tell you these confirmed the highest international standards. Even European standards like US FTA, TGA, Australia can't match on it. You go to European countries, you go to other developed countries, their manufacturing plants cannot match with our standards. But still, in order to make us not downgrade, in order to make us something inferior, they are clamping down our activities. And they are blacklisting the companies like Wokhad, like Sun Pharma. Can you believe it? These are the companies who produce the medicines of highest standards. Uncompromising standards, they do it. These are the visionaries of the Indian pharma industry, and they won't compromise. This is happening with them. The price control is also a major issue which is happening. So these are the grave concerns that we have in the industry which needs to be addressed, deliberated, and I hope in coming 6 to 7 hours and 8 hours, the luminaries of the Indian pharma industry who will be present in full number, around 300, 350 will be present by around 5, 6, will deliberate on various other issues which you would be able to know what is happening in the industry. And I hope they will also address what I'm saying, the real story of India, the real make in India, the healthcare reforms, in case it needs to be innovative, in case it needs to be responsive, will have to be patient-driven and will have to be customer-driven and not something which will remain only as a slogan. This is the real Make in India for me. Thank you very much. And I request Professor Sunil to come and take over for the other guest. Thank you then very much.
Thank you, Mr. Satya. You have actually raised several issues which were contemporary in nature, like the basic plan, the price control, as well as, of course, you have raised questions on the bureaucracy, and of course, a focused approach which is required in healthcare. Thank you for the various insights which you have provided, which should be addressed by one and all, of course, the government officials as well. We now move on to the next session, which is actually the keynote address. And I would actually invite Mr. Ajit Singh, Chairman of ACG Worldwide, for the keynote address. Mr. Ajit Singh. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Ajit Singh. Who is a veteran in the Indian pharma industry and a big risk taker. Mr. Ajit Singh is the chairman of Associated Capsules Group of Companies, Mumbai, and executive committee member of the Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and also the founder official of the South Asian Pharmaceutical Excipients Council. A veteran entrepreneur, Mr. Singh is a well-known figure in the Indian pharma industry and is also actively involved with various organizations which work on issues affecting the pharma industry.
You're eating into my time.
Sorry. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. After that amazing tirade by our organizer, Brahma, I think many of us are glad we didn't go into politics. So I want to thank Brahma, I want to thank the organizers for giving me an opportunity to deliver this keynote address to you. Many of us in this audience are from the medical profession, and some are practicing pharmacists and industrial pharmacists. So obviously, you already know that life expectancy of human beings in Roman times was only 28 years. Today, even in India, it is over 64 years. In the United States, nearly 80 years. A lot of this progress comes from the skill and dedication of doctors, but the great deal comes from progress in the medical sciences, and particularly in the manufacture and development of new and more potent drugs. Now the world has begun to recognize India as a source, as a powerhouse of medicines. Affectionately, India is being called the pharmacy of the world. 50% of the products made by the pharmaceutical industry in India are exported. Now that's a real achievement. At a conference of pharmacists that I attended a couple of years ago in Germany, a German pharmacist, finding out that I'm from India, congratulated me from being from this country. And he said, you know, in my 2 pharmacies that I own in a relatively small village in Germany, 2 out of 5 of the medicines are of Indian origin. And this really made me proud, that our medicines are going to over 200 countries and carrying the Indian flag with them. In my opinion, the pharma industry is far more important to India than the IT industry. Perhaps not in size, but in terms of bringing fame in a highly technological product to India. Indian pharma products, unlike the IT industry, which goes mostly to English-speaking countries, Indian pharma products speak every language in the world and are effective everywhere. If you look at the rankings of the size of the pharma industry in different countries of the world, India comes somewhere around 15 or 16. Not very impressive. But you know, if you look at it another way, that the purpose of the pharma industry is not just to become big in dollar terms, but to save lives, to cure suffering, to make dosage forms that matter. And therefore, if you look at it in terms of volume, India shoots up to number 3 position in the world and will soon climb higher, and is therefore one of the most significant industries in this country called India. I occasionally meet Dr. Yusuf Hamid, the chairman of CIPLA, and over lunch one day he said, if I could sell my products at the price of the big pharma companies in advanced countries, my turnover would be over $6 billion. I said, Yusuf, 6 billion? Probably it's about $4 billion. He said, no, it is $6 billion. So I let it be, because after all, what's a billion or two between friends? GSK, been in India for many years. Half their total world production is made in India. Many other pharma companies, though we may not know it, are actually number 1 or number 2 in the world in their products. My own company is number 1 in the world in at least 4 different products in the range that we operate in. I'll come back to CIPLA. They show us the importance of the Indian pharma industry to the world. The CIPLA company has saved more than 10 million lives in Africa from people who otherwise today would be dead from AIDS. I believe that CIPLA and its head should be given a Nobel Peace Prize. We should honor them and we should honor India. Because even if you take the last 10 Nobel Peace Prize winners, they have nowhere near brought that much peace and freedom from suffering and from death as this one company has done. Now, it is often said that India is good at mass production of basic products, but it should move up the ladder. It should invent new molecules and high value-added products. Fair enough. But let me put it to you with a completely different thought, and that is India specializes in making vast quantities of drugs and pharmaceuticals of a global standard quality at the cheapest prices in the world and still makes a profit. Now you combine those 4 things in the world which nobody else can do, and you realize what India is doing is very, very, very high technology. Technology gets developed in laboratories in the pharma industry, but a lot of it flows from the ancillary industry into the pharma. And if you look at the way modern medicines are dosed, the way they're packaged, you see that the pharma industry owes a lot to the ancillary industry, to manufacturers of machinery, components, moisture-resistant packaging materials. Just consider pre-filled syringes. All the technology has actually come to the pharma from the ancillary industry. New delivery systems for diabetes, patch technology. In the case of steroids being dosed into the human system for asthma, the ancillary industry has developed machinery in India that can dose an empty capsule with only a partial small quantity of powder, perfectly dosed to within plus minus 1